How does the knight move?
Shit. Oh, my rook. What am I doing?
The rook! The bishop! The queen!
Hello everyone, so today we'll be covering basic tactics, starting with the hanging piece. So what is a hanging piece? A hanging piece is simply where one of our opponent's pieces is under attack and we capture it for free. It is the simplest type of tactic in chess. So, for example, here, after black plays the move c6, we have an opportunity to get a hanging piece. How? Well, we're attacking this pawn with our knight and we can capture it. That means we've just netted one pawn in profit. Hanging pieces are simple tactics, but they're often critical at the lower levels, as people frequently miss free material and you're able to take advantage. Now we're moving on to a different tactic, the fork/double attack. So what is a fork? A fork is simply where, in this position, we're attacking two pieces at once. So when our opponent moves one, we capture the other. And if they move, we capture. So, how do forks work though? We're basically using a lower valued piece, in this case a knight, which is only worth 3 points of material, to attack a queen worth 9 and a rook worth 5. Hence, when they move either, we capture, and we're more than acceptable getting the queen in exchange for a knight because we've given up only 3 points of material and we've gotten 9 points of material, so we've netted a profit. That's how a lot of these tactics in the future will work. We will now be looking at another classic, the pin. What is a pin? A pin is simply where you've got one of your opponent's pieces stuck because if it moves, you can capture a higher valued piece. So let's look at this example. If the knight moves, as we just saw, white gets the queen for a bishop, which is a net 6 trade, meaning we're making material. Now, if black doesn't move the knight, they don't lose the queen. That's one of the disadvantages of pin. So you might say, well, what the heck do I want a pin for? Well, because your opponent can't move the knight, you can start to take advantage of this by attacking it with multiple pieces, in this case, the knight. And if your opponent loses control of the knight, eventually, you're going to be able to capture it. So let's say here, our opponent has lost not enough defenders. So as we saw in hanging pieces, we have 2 attackers, they have 1 defender, meaning we can safely capture this because we have more attackers than they have defenders. Then if they capture back, we get the queen. So that is the benefit of the pin. So last but not least, we'll be looking at the skewer. So what is a skewer? A skewer is pretty much the inverse of a pin. So let's say here, we move our rook back. So a skewer would be here when black plays rook to h1 check. Now you might be like, well, why is this a skewer? Sure, it's a check, but I'll just get out of it easily. But that's not the point of a skewer. A point of the skewer is you're attacking a higher valued piece. Normally, it's the king or the queen. The king has to run up, and then you grab the rook. So, meaning you just netted a rook for free because your opponent was obligated to move the king, and you got the free rook. Pretty simple. So, I would say it's an inverse of a pin because a pin is where we would go for the rook, and then the rook couldn't move because we would be attacking the king. Right? But in a skewer, it's the opposite. You're attacking the higher valued piece. When it runs away, you capture the lower valued piece. So it works especially well in kings because kings don't have as much range. So, for example, if this was a queen, the queen would be able to capture the rook. But because it's a king, it's a check. So it works optimally with kings, but it can work at some other situations. So I'm going to give you guys a quick puzzle. If black plays rook to a5, let's say here, what would you do? If you said rook to b8 check, you'd be correct. That is a skewer on the king and the rook, allowing you to collect up the rook. A little bonus is that you could do it again here. So you could get a combo and get both rooks and win. So finally, I'll be showing how to train. So first, you can go to this website called Lichess and sign in with an account. They have a puzzle tool where you can just solve puzzles. So these are tactical puzzles which will help you enhance your strength in puzzles and tactics. You can click on puzzle themes and you can target what you want. So for example, the fork, which we discussed in this video, is right here, and you can train specifically fork tactics. So for example, this one, you would just make the move and you would solve the tactic and you'd get your rating. So that concludes today's video. Thanks for watching, and please consider subscribing.